Kevalam Baba, Nam Kevalam Baba, Nam Kevalam Baba, Nam Kevalam. Kevalam Baba, Nam Kevalam Baba, Nam Kevalam Baba, Nam Kevalam. Namaskar, everybody. Welcome to our online meditation this Saturday morning, as we usually have here on Tantra Thoughts. We provide for you meditation techniques, tantric wisdom, personal development, and definitely spiritual community. And that's what our Saturday sessions are all about, growing our spiritual community, developing our spiritual life through spiritual community. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Today is a very special broadcast because we just released a new short film on Tantra Thoughts called How Meditation Can Ruin Your Life, the short film Ripe. And I know that's a very provocative title that some people are already raising eyebrows about, some friends. But today we're going to talk about the film, and hopefully you got a chance to see it. And we're going to have actually the whole crew here, or not the whole crew, unfortunately, but we're going to have the leading actors, Raymond and Lorray, and the my co-director, Luis Felipe Diaz. Um, so it's going to be really, really special. And I hope that you're excited about that and that you saw the film so you can prepare so you've got comments and questions prepared. Now, let's go ahead and do our usual reminders for anybody who might be here for the first time. So, first of all, make sure that you're registered on our email list. And that way you can get our free ebook called The Yamas and Niyamas 10 Moral Guides, 10 Moral Principles of Yoga. Make sure that you are signed up. I know you're really going to love that book. That book really illustrates our 10 guiding principles here in our community. Those yamas and niyamas are quintessential for spiritual success, for success in meditation, for success in relationships, success in life, success in everything. It's such a gift that we have this package of those 10 moral principles, the yamas and niyamas, to really live our best life. So definitely go ahead and register so you can get a copy of that book. Have a cushion handy for meditation today and be in a quiet place so you can just really be present here and tune out the rest of the world for our community session. And announce yourself in the chat. Tell us the highlight of your week, how many times you've been here before, especially if you've been here less than 4 times. Then we'd love to know what session this is for you. Because as some of you might know, and for those of you that don't, after you come 4 times and you write about your experience practicing the yamas and niyamas on our Facebook group, you become eligible to get a personal meditation lesson, to get the first lesson of our tantric series of meditations, which includes 6 lessons. So let's see now. I see some people have already joined our chat. Let's see who is here. It's nice to see that. Krupa has joined us. Namaskar, sister. It's so wonderful to have you join us again. How many times have you been here now? Please let us know. She was asking who unliked the video before it started. Thanks for looking out, Krupa. All right. We're going to find out who unliked the video before it started, before our session started today. And we have Anushila here. She says, Namaskar. Namaskar, sister. It's so wonderful to have you as usual. Tell us what you thought about the film, if you got a chance to see it. And Krupa says, why everybody here gets greeted with Namaskar? Good question. Well, Namaskar means with my mind. So we do a mudra with it. It's not complete without the hand gesture. So thumbs come up to the forehead, and that means with my mind, and then thumbs to the heart center. And with my heart, I honor your inner divinity. So it's a greeting that is common in India, in Nepal, and it's kind of one of our catchphrases here. So it's actually nice that in our community we have regular language that we share that really makes us feel like, oh yeah, right now I'm in Vistara circle because people are always saying namaskar to each other. So thanks for asking that. And she also says, always namaskar, everyone. So, namaskar back to you once again, Krupa. And again, tell me, how many times have you been here, please? Because I think you might be ready for your first lesson. And we have Clifford here. He says, Namaskar from Austin, Texas. Namaskar, dear brother. It's so wonderful to have you. Tell us what you thought about the film. And by the way, Clifford helped name the film because I asked people in advance in the Facebook group, what should we call this film? And we had a couple of ideas, um, a couple of different titles. Of course, the title of the movie is Ripe. That's the official title, but that's not really searchable in YouTube. So we needed a title that was going to grab people's attention. And Clifford was one of those people that I got to consult, and he helped me with the name. Thanks for being here, Clifford. Thanks for being there, Clifford. And we have Chrysalis, Alexandria. It is my first time. So is your name Alexandria, or are you joining us from Alexandria? I am in Alexandria, Virginia. Tell us exactly where you're joining us. And if it is your first time, then everybody please join me to put in 5 hearts into the chat for her. Okay? Everybody please join me in welcoming this new dear sister. It's always a special to have somebody new here. So everybody please go ahead and put in 5 hearts just for her so we can greet her properly and make her feel welcome. And she just wrote, and so then I believe your name is Alexandria and you're from Houston. That's excellent. All right. So welcome. And here are some hearts for you. Those are from Karen. And here's some love from Hitendra or Jefferson. So welcome, Alexandria. It's really special to have you here. Tell us if you've seen the film, okay? The film that we're going to be talking about later today. And Christina is here. Namaskar, dear sister. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you're having a lovely morning. Thanks for the email that you sent out this morning. And we have Leanne. Where do we register for the free ebook? Very good question. Let's get the link up one more time so that you can get the book. Okay, there it is. All right. I'm glad you've joined, Leanne. Tell us if you've seen the film and what you thought about it, okay? Mariana is here. Namaskar, dear sister. She is one of the actresses in the film. Mariana plays the role of Food for All director. So, and she does an amazing job. And actually, this was kind of it was definitely a team effort and a family effort because Mariana is the wife of my co-director and co-writer, Philippe. So it was great to have you on set and for all of your input. Glad that you're here, Mariana. Um, so, namaskar. And Hitendra is here. Namaskar and blessed from West Point, Kentucky. So great to see you again, dear brother. Hopefully everything is going well. Fun fact about him, I just saw on Facebook he was sharing about his son who was 3 feet tall by the time he was how old? When he was still a little boy, your son was already 3 feet tall. I can't remember how was he just like I don't know, was he still an infant then or a toddler? So, anyways, that's been on my mind. Thanks for joining and say hello to Keaton, his son. Let's see. So, Alexandria has watched it. Excellent. And yes, you're welcome. Those special hearts are for you. If you haven't put in your hearts yet for Alexandria, please do. Okay? She's new and it's nice to make her feel welcome. Crescendo says, I just watched Ripe and found it a classic story of life having twists and turns. Caution, life ahead. Keep spiritual community. Those are some hearts, I think, from Alexandria. That was a good summary, brother. Yeah, a classic story of life. Absolutely. Um, you know, I teach literature in college, so that's how I earn my income. I teach literature at Northern Virginia Community College, and I always like to inculcate into my students the value of what literature is all about. And literature is very different from entertainment. And the film that we made, although we tried to incorporate a lot of entertainment value into it, um, it's kind of more designed to be a work of literature, although it's film, because it's about life, about real people who have real struggles, real worldly problems that are difficult to navigate alone. And so, therefore, uh, there's not exactly a happy ending in the story. There's just an appropriate ending in the story. But I'm already talking about the story, and I want you to hear about the story later today from the actors and the directors who helped, um, who we all made the film. Okay, so let's hold those thoughts later for later. Leanne, you haven't seen it yet. Well, I hope that you get to check it out. Okay, you can watch it after this broadcast, and in the meantime, you'll learn all about how it was made here. And Ruth says, "Hello from Alexandria, Virginia. Wow, that's where I'm at, Ruth. This is excellent. This means that we can not only meet online, but in person. Is this your first time? Please let us know." Okay. And it is your first time. Wonderful. So, everybody, please join me in putting in 5 hearts into the chat just for Ruth, to welcome her. If we were, online in person, people could walk up to you and say hello, but right now people can send you their love. So everybody, please put 5 hearts into the chat. There's Andra's love. So that's a beautiful array of colorful love there. Thank you, Andra, for Alexandria and for Ruth now. And Andra, my wife, she's also in the film. She plays the role of Food for All volunteer. And she did an amazing job. So go ahead and look out for her also in the film. All right. Thanks for being here, Andra. And thanks for welcoming our first timers here. Karen sends love to Ruth. Thank you. We have Blooming Life. Whoa, who are you, dear Blooming Life? Please tell us your name. Tell us where you're joining us from. Tell us if this is your first time. When I was little, my favorite soccer team was a soccer team from Bolivia called Blooming. I used to go crazy, going to the stadium and hollering and jumping, and because in Bolivia, when you go to a soccer stadium, the best part is being in those curves where the fans are buck wild. So I used to love doing that when I was younger. And the team was called Blooming, and the color was the color I'm wearing now, light blue, sky blue. So thanks for joining us. And Alexandria is sending some love to Ruth. Thank you so much, Alexandria. And we have our dear brother Juan here. Namaskar, dear brother. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. I'm glad you saw the video. He says, congratulations to everyone. Yes, definitely congratulations to the team that helped put this together. Did a wonderful job, a fantastic job, and I'm glad we can celebrate that today. So I'm so happy you're here, Juan. Thanks for joining us. Ruth is saying thank you. There's some love from Crescendo. There's some love for Ruth from Christina. And Blooming Life says Cassie from Florida. Great. First time watching live. Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm so happy you're here. We're going to get started in just a moment. And have you seen the film we're talking about? Have you seen Ripe? Please let us know. And Juan is from Venezuela, and he was Baba's host in his visit to Venezuela. Okay, well, that's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm pretty sure he's referring to the Guru Sri Sri Anandamurti. So that's excellent. Excellent, Juan. That must have been a wonderful experience. Thank you for sharing. Um, and he's also known as Dada Satyeshvarananda. Great. You're most welcome here. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, let's go ahead and talk about our agenda. So, the agenda is that we've started already with our reminders and our greetings. Next, we're going to do Kirtan, which I'll explain when we get there. Then we'll have the guided meditation. Today, there's no reading or class. Instead, there is an interview and like a roundtable discussion with the cast um, and the whole kind of production team for the film Ripe. So you get to meet them, you get to hear their perspectives. I'm super excited to reconnect with them. We had a one. It was for me. It was a wonderful time filming just 2 weeks ago. So, and then there'll be the announcement, which will probably just be go watch the film if you haven't watched it yet. So I said the announcement already. So we saved a little time. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started? I'll talk a little bit now about Kirtan. So, in a moment, I will play for you the Kirtan music, and you will hear in the music the mantra Baba Nam Kevalam. Baba Nam Kevalam means the supreme consciousness is all there is, or only the feeling of infinite love. So I invite you to close your eyes as you listen to the kirtan. And I also invite you to sing along and just start to get an image of this supreme consciousness or infinite love. Start to feel that supreme consciousness in the core of your being, in everything around you, and start to connect. If you do that, then when it's time to meditate, you will just deepen that connection in the meditation, because I will also invite you to meditate with this same mantra. But many of our community members here have already gotten their first lesson, so they have a personal mantra. So definitely when we do our meditation, those folks can meditate with their own personal mantra. But if you're new, then definitely use Baba Nam Kevalam. Okay, so let's get started. Go ahead and sit comfortably. Take your hands and interlace your fingers and place your hands on your lap. Go ahead and monitor your lower back. Make sure the lower back is nice and straight. Monitor your upper back, making sure it is also nice and straight. And you can make adjustments in the body to feel more comfortable and to get the body situated because it will be your asset in the meditation as long as it is still and comfortable. And let's incorporate the breath, breathing in deeply, expanding the abdominal area, breathing out nice and slow in a smooth and steady way. Breathing in, filling the belly with air like a balloon. Breathing out, making sure the exhalation is longer than the inhalation. And making sure that as you breathe out, you are decompressing the muscles, the whole body, and the mind. Breathe in as though you fill yourself with a spiritual flow, infinite in the universe. And breathe out as though you become more and more subtle. Become more and more subtle as you exhale. So on your next exhalation, feel that you withdraw from the entire world completely. As you exhale, feel that the world around you disappears. And on your next exhalation, feel that your body disappears. And on the next exhalation, feel that you are just in your mind, in the center core of the mind, where you observe everything, including your own self as observer. And so be in this place of consciousness. Go deeper into your consciousness now with each breath. Just be for the time being. From this point of view, you'll be able to just observe any passing thoughts or things that come up and come back to being pure consciousness. And now go ahead and reflect on the infinite consciousness of the universe, or reflect on infinite love. And start to feel that you are but the infinite in unit form, the ocean in a drop of water. And start to long for your own expansion from finite to infinite, from little to great. Visualize that endeavor and feel yourself becoming the great. And allow this effort to be encapsulated in the mantra Baba Nam Kevalam. And so you can begin repeating the mantra now silently to yourself. Each time feeling that with every utterance of the mantra, you become infinite. Take the shelter of the mantra and move toward the supreme consciousness or infinite love. We'll continue meditating on the mantra for a few more minutes, and I will cue you when it is time to come back. go ahead and start to come back, reconnecting with the body, the world around you, and with the people in this broadcast. And before you open your eyes, if you could please just visualize everybody here meditating with you, joining you. Visualize all of them full of light and love. Light and love for their physical, mental, and spiritual needs. And we can start to open the eyes. And namaskar. We can close our meditation. And thanks so much for being here. Now we can go ahead and bring everybody on board. First, I'm going to introduce Brother Raymond. There he is, Vale himself. Let me go ahead and just put on my headphones so I can hear. And we have Philippe, the director, my co-director and co-writer. Hey, Philippe.
Hey, everyone. Hello, everyone.
And we have, of course, the star of the film, one of the stars of the film, but definitely a captivating star. We have Lorraine.
Hello.
Hey, Lorraine. So how's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Raymond's looking good. He's got a nice haircut.
I did, yeah, just yesterday.
That's right. Raymond is already on set for another film.
Look at him. Nice.
And Philippe, your volume is just a little loud. I'm not sure why. Just a little loud. I'm not sure. Maybe you look good where you are, but just
Yeah, I don't know how to. I'll speak softer if that's possible. Does that help?
Yeah, or maybe just slightly move the computer just a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. That's good.
All right.
Okay. All right. So welcome. Let's see if this is the best format. Let me just double check something here. Yeah, I think this is good. All right. So if you have any comments or questions, our audience members, our community here, then please go ahead and feel free and start typing them in. In the meantime, let's see where to begin. I mean, it's a nice reunion, first of all. It's great to see you all back. We just filmed this 2 weeks ago, and it just happened over a weekend, So it was so special to have everybody's time and energy come together. Why don't we start with Philippe?
Yeah.
So, brother, as one of the writers, him and I, it was an honor, and it was really great working with Philippe, writing this film and directing this film. We wore many hats. Another thing that Philippe did, which is like one of the biggest treats, one of the highlights of the film, is he was the cinematographer. So he was the director of photography. He filmed everything. He was behind the camera. And one of the compliments I've already gotten about the film is how amazing. I mean, they said that, they love the cinematography.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, brother, why don't you talk to us a little bit about what was your intention as you were writing this film, as in directing it, and the I guess what was it that you were trying to get across in this project?
So, to be pragmatic, you approached me with this project, and in terms of my background, coming from making documentaries, I've never done a feature film or a short film or been behind doing something like that. So it was, and I'm actually in film school, finishing film school. So it was a great way for me to put all the knowledge that I've been gathering for the past year to 2 years and put it into practice. And then if you match that with a nice message that we crafted, then it was all the better, So it was an opportunity that I could not say no, especially also as we're friends. I wanted to help you out with this project as much as possible.
Yeah. And now it's nice that we can bring our energies together to create content in our channel, right? That has this loving community here that's present today. And that's true. Philippe and I are friends from Vistara Circle.
Mhm.
So meditating together, his wife as well, and so yeah, that was a real treat to come together like that, and now hope to keep working on more projects.
Mhm.
Let's see here, Raymond, what do you think about the your character Vale? What was it that what did you observe, and what were you trying to highlight in him as you were playing the role?
Well, one of the biggest things for me as a performer is you want to have something to say, something that speaks to people and they can experience. And Vale to me is a very typical, Western country person who is pursuing his goals of being successful and making money and kind of pursuing that very hard and very focused. And the thing I loved about his character is kind of the arc in the end that kind of has everything crumbling down on him, and that happens so many times to people in this world, not just with businesses failing, but just the emotional experience of something failing and then having to deal with it. And his relationship with Uma was just very powerful to me, because she's kind of the mother at the playground coming and saving him from his his injuries of life that happens to everybody at some point in our life. And it can be very damaging, and if you don't deal with it in a way that helps you move forward, and sometimes you just need that help. And Uma was that help for Vale, which is also ironic because Vale was also the catalyst for Uma, which sent her on her journey. So it kind of came back around in the end, where she's pushing him into the journey that he should have had in the first place, but he kind of misaligned his intentions with his meditation and yoga. So I found him a very interesting character to play.
Yeah, definitely. He does exhibit just you're right, in life, the disappointments that we have, right? The life that we think we're trying to live and the outcomes that we're searching for. And sometimes that life is actually, the foundation of it is like thin ice, something very thin. And so we can be cautious, right? Like what is not only our goals, but also what are our beliefs that are driving us. And there's Lorraine.
Hello.
So welcome, Lorraine, who played Uma. So what do you think? What did you notice about your character? Why did you decide to play this role? And what did you want to highlight about the character in your performance?
Yeah.
Which was amazing, by the way. And everybody, I mean, I didn't get to say that Raymond's performance was also fantastic.
Yes. Amazing, stellar job to absolutely everyone involved. I could not agree more. Well, I was incredibly excited when you reached out initially to be able to play in a faith-based spiritual film. I'm a spiritual person myself, and my own spiritual journey is something that's very, very sacred and very important to me. So being able to experience that through another character and share that with you all was just an incredible experience. And a lot of the driving reason behind why I was happy to accept this role. But something that was really important to highlight for me was not just the beginning or the end of Uma's experience, but her overall journey. I love what Raymond was saying about characters being relatable and people being able to relate with characters. And I think a lot of the heroes and characters in media, whether it be movies or anything in media that we relate with, people that inspire us, are characters that we can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And that journey that Uma experiences is, I think, what makes her relatable. And it's that journey that, when we look at her, are able to see ourselves in her, because we all have a spiritual journey that we're on, whether we know it or not, and that spiritual journey is intertwined with every aspect of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a really important part of Uma's character for me to highlight, in addition to the fact that the universe puts people in our lives for a reason. And oftentimes that reason is to help us on our journey, and oftentimes that reason is to help others in our journey. And I just thought it was very beautiful that at the beginning of her journey, Vale is there to help her. The universe has placed Vale in her path to help enlighten her journey.
Uh-huh.
In the end, she ends up being the one, that reaches out and gets him back up on his feet. And I think that was a very beautiful just depiction of the way that our journeys are intertwined, I think intentionally, their power for the enlightenment of us all.
Yeah, exactly. I really like what you said there about we're all really in a spiritual journey, no matter how mundane our life, seemingly is. I mean, just the fact that we get up every morning and we want something better for ourselves, something better than yesterday, something better than before, and something better than we can even do for today. It just shows that human beings are always longing um, for something greater, you know, and that could be as small as, today to earn more money, today to find my partner, or as great as today to, you know, attain the supreme, you know. But it's that evolution that we are in, that's common in all of us, you know, and the film does show that, right? The progression of these characters, even though one character kind of falls off, like Vale, in his journey, in his spiritual journey. And so then the question is why? Why would that question fall off? And and people ask that question a lot. And I want to get to some of the audience's questions in just a moment. But people ask that question: why is it that some people show up for meditation? Let's say they come here to Vistara Circle. They've been coming for 6, 7 months, and then suddenly one day they disappear. We never see them again, or they disappear in their own practice. And a lot of times that could just be because um, what was their motivation in their practice? If it was something for an immediate gain, like for being more focused at work, or for de-stressing during a time of stress, and then that episode in their life ends, well, then now their practice will also end. And if it's for a material gain, or for some other physical gains, like today, it's no secret, the Marines, for example, they are teaching the Marines meditation, for what? So that they can be actually more composed in the battlefield, as they are, out in battle killing, for example, and so to teach them mindfulness, to help them be more efficient in that, and be more composed in that. So you see, there's so many different ways that meditation is being used, and this film kind of, you could say, also kind of did a somewhat of an exaggeration too, of how the character of Vale, was using meditation, and how um, it may have ultimately led him to where he goes. But the point there is that is just that's just one piece probably of his journey, but it's just to show the importance also of um, why we meditate, and what is the right ideation. And Uma tries to bring that in, to explain that to him at the end. Do any of you all have any comments before we get some questions from the audience? Anything to add there? Okay, well, let's see here. So we have some comments here from Karen. Says, congratulations on your role in the film. Fabulous job. Thank you, Karen. Juan says, okay, he's talking about his history as a monk. Wonderful. And then we have some housekeeping things from Jefferson about attendance. Facebook froze for a moment. Sorry about that. I hope we are unfrozen now. I can't wait to hear Uma's renditions from the songs in Frozen. Because Uma was she played the role of some of these characters, right? She's a performance actress in that way.
Yes, I've worked in character entertainment. That is true.
And a singer. So in another project, we have to get your singing voice too.
Oh my goodness. Maybe not today. I'm not warmed up.
And Krupa says, okay, so it was her second time. Teresa says, I've watched the film. Very well done. Congratulations, Gustavo and all your crew. They were amazing. Yes, I agree. Keep making this kind of content. This will make an important difference in many people's lives. So what difference has it made in your life, Teresa? Please tell us. And Teresa's my mom, by the way. So, and mom was so nice. She's not just only here supporting us. She let us use her house to film.
She's got credits. Yeah,
right. So the shots in the house, some of the house shots that you saw were actually at her place. Krupa says, Gustavo, you mentioned that the movie is inspired from one of Rabindranath Tagore's writings. Tell us more about that. I'm so happy you asked that question. Let me leave that to Philippe to answer for now, and maybe I can get the poem on the screen. We'll see. Philippe, you want to take that?
It was a poem, if I believe that. Did you guys get a chance to read it as well? From what I can remember, I know you'd be able to explain this way better than me, but it was a poem about a monk or a spiritual person in India that would travel from village to village to village. And he was approached by someone, and he basically rejected that person at first, and basically along the lines of the movie said that when the time is ripe, I will see you. And then just as the movie in our own version unfolded, that moment did happen down the line, and that the specific monk helped him. Now I'm being very rude at describing the poem, and I know Gustavo will be able to get to it and explain it better.
Yeah, actually, it's you said it in that. Well, actually, I wanted to. Let's see if I can. Sorry, this is not prepared here. I wanted to show a little bit of the poem. Let's see, where can I find?
But what I can do say in terms of the movie, that was a very specific word, which was the word "right."
Mm-hmm.
It was something that was in the original script that we changed it to "right," and I was like, no one says "right" nowadays, so I changed it to "right." And then, like, as we were thinking about a movie title, I'm like, no, this is the best word because it's going to stand out and it's going to perfectly describe the whole metaphor for the movie. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody can. We have at the right time we're right or ripe, or we can overripen and end up like fail.
Yeah, right. There was a lot, or just like when they met. At first, it was supposed to be like a romantic encounter, right. but they just weren't ripe for each other. Right. They weren't not only right, but the time was not ripe for that. Anybody else want to add anything? I'm trying to show the poem, but maybe it won't be possible. Yeah, anyways, so yeah, it's that, so Uma's character, Uma's kind of like Upagupta. And now you can tell her name. Her name kind of sounds like a female version of that longer name. But he was the Buddhist monk who showed self-restraint, right? The dancing girl. One day, Upagupta is just lying on the street. He's sleeping outside. He's an ascetic monk. And the dancing girl, she walks up to him and she says, young monk, the earth is not a fit bed for you. Come to my home and sleep with me, And Upagupta looks at her and he says, sister, go on your way. When the time is ripe, like Philippe said, I will come to you. And that's exactly what Uma tells Vale. We don't want to give away too much of the story, but it's in a total modern way and in a kind of a different context. But one of the key points is that Uma shows self-restraint because before in the past, Vale also shows self-restraint in what he tells Uma when they first meet. And so both these characters at different times show self-restraint. and it shows the beauty that can happen as a result of that. Like Vale, he could have consummated that relationship, with her, and maybe it wouldn't have led to her transformation. But in a way, he shows some kind of self-restraint, and it kind of pivots Uma in a different direction in her life. And then later, Uma could have also consummated the encounter with Vale, but she shows self-restraint, because she's married. Uh, and then that, but what gets created out of that is that, um, she's able to do something even better for him, as everybody can see in the movie. Um, so thank you for bringing that question up, Krupa. Any other thoughts on this concept of, that's one of the themes of the film, is the concept of self-restraint, the importance of that.
I have a thought on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
As you were talking, I was just thinking it's so interesting that self-restraint is often viewed as something that's limiting and restricting, and all the can'ts and the don'ts and what you can't have, when in reality it's because of that self-restraint that you're able to have something more and have something better. Like you're sacrificing something small for something so much greater or so much better. And I think when we practice self-restraint in the ways like you described, whether it be not drinking or making the decision to not have sex before marriage, or whatever theme it is, when you give something up, you are in reality gaining something greater by becoming one with the Supreme and reaching a better, higher state. Does that make sense? So we kind of view self-restraint as a limiting factor, when in reality it's an empowering, enabling factor in our lives that allows us to have that better part in our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody want to add anybody want to comment on what she said? Because I agree with you. Sometimes people look at, let's say, somebody who's vegetarian like that. Oh, why would you give up the pleasure
Right.
of eating meat? I mean, it's delicious. Of course, I used to eat meat. Of course, I remember how delicious it is. But so people wonder, why do people practice self-restraint? Why give something up? Isn't life short? Shouldn't we be enjoying and as much as possible, maximizing our pleasure during our short time? But actually, when you give something up and when people do it on principle, it's because they're gaining something else that becomes even more valuable to them. So nothing is really being lost.
Right.
That person is actually
Nice, right.
Mhm. Yeah. So thanks, Lorraine. Let's see here. And then Krupp also says the names Uma and Vale are the real names from the Tagore writing. No, but they're similar. They're similar. So like Upagupta, Uma. There's some similarities there. And to be honest, I forgot the name of the courtesan, the female character who's known, but she has a name too, and I think it starts with V. We're gonna double check that, okay? Great question, Krupa. Thank you. And she says, great work, guys. Christina says, I appreciate that Vale's intention for beginning meditation is one that is extremely common, but perhaps not often explored. It was interesting to see the consequences play out in his life. Christina says also, was there anything that y'all wanted to add to the film which didn't make the final cut? Okay, so good questions there. Raymond, do you have any comments on that?
Well, that is definitely a very good question about Vale's intentions, and I think also the title of the YouTube version of it is kind of provocative in a way, saying meditation is never really linked to any negative things. So if you see the title, you kind of think, how can meditation possibly have adverse effects on your spiritual being? So to kind of explore that in depth through Vale's development and how he's just using it for the wrong purposes of, focusing on kind of goals that aren't really important for your spiritual journey, but they're very selfish and very, I guess very typical for how people live their life is, that they don't think about their spiritual being. They think about their physical existence and the things that they want in life that usually have to do with money or success. So I think it is very important to look at that and see, like, how can meditation possibly, damage you? But if you do it for the wrong reasons, or if you don't do it correctly, or,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking of my character, like, just thinking of how he would have been meditating kind of was intriguing to me. Like, what would he be focusing on when he's doing his meditations, in terms of pushing himself to a success? So instead of having this peaceful inner being in mind, he would always sit there and think about the goals he's setting for himself. So he would think about, I'm going to be successful, and put all his energy towards that, and kind of exhaust that energy towards that goal. And then when everything comes crashing down, it just kind of diminishes the energy he's been building up, because he hasn't been collecting that for his own well-being, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Have you all seen the movie The Secret?
Yes.
Right? I used to love that movie because it put me in such a good mood. It made me feel like, wow, I can, life is abundant, right? But one of the downsides of a film like that, for example, or a book like that, or the how people interpret the law of attraction, is that then your connection with the universe is for your own physical accumulation, for your own physical well-being, especially how the film was emphasizing, using the law of attraction to get all the money you want, to get the house you want, to get the career you want. And so then it's almost like your relationship, the universe is like they even say in that movie, a genie, right? A genie that's there for your command, for you to just kind of use as like I don't know, like just for purely material gain. So it's not terrible. It's not a completely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but really, one's connection with the universe is something, should be something more subtle than that. And you can use things like the law of attraction not just to get the car that you want, but to become, a better person, to become the Buddha, to connect with the universe, and not ask the universe for things that you think you need, but ask the universe, what do you think I need? Because the universe knows more than we do. I think I want, a Mercedes Benz, but the universe probably knows that that's going to put me in debt and that's not going to be good for me. Or I could crash that thing and I'll go into a deep depression. So I have to trust what the universe wants for me. And those are one of the things that's not expressed in that sort of new age mentality of the law of attraction. And I wondered what Raymond was wondering too, like what would Vale be meditating on? And I found some videos on YouTube that he might have been using. Any other thoughts on this? If not, just chime in anytime, by the way.
No, I think just to answer some questions, I think somebody asked what was cut out of the script.
Yeah, thank you.
And and in terms of the back end of things, when you're thinking about places where to film, where not to film, we originally had thought about actually two things that we took out, to be honest with you. And it comes down to timing, comes down to the resources of doing this in a day. In the morning, always we shot it over a day and an afternoon, if you think about it, over a weekend. So our time was very limited. But anyway, so we thought originally about doing the scene in the park where they're doing the yoga and coming out of the tunnel, which is a beautiful metaphor for Uma. She's coming out of the darkness into the light, which worked amazingly for the movie. Originally, we thought about maybe she's at Malcolm X Park, there's people with drum circles. But then you think about it on the production side of things, we have so many factors to control in terms of people coming in and now, and then trying to get people to sign releases. So the easy way to solve it was just to basically say, oh no, this is a much better metaphor for her than actually her going up a step on the Malcolm X Park, which would have been also a good metaphor as she was walking up. So that changed, and it worked really well for the movie and for the location, because then we had the water scene right there as well. So on the back end for us was easy then to I'm showing you how a little bit how the magic works on the backside, but it was easy then for us to just have our characters or our whole crew just move from one place to the other place without having to drive across town and lose time. because when you're doing a project of this scope that's so time sensitive, and every little second matters. And that's exactly what happened too, because we had a part in which with the movie, I believe that Uma passed by a homeless person or somebody in need, and she'd give him some help. And then at the end, Vale would pass by that person and also bump into that person. So again, just to create a almost like a metaphor, a subliminal message that perhaps that this was going to be the future for Vale, but just in cinematic terms, a visual term to show something is going to change, and then we would see Vale again going to asking for help, because that would have been the next shot after that. But then again, for time and for resources, those two were needed to be cut. And as we're going through this process, we can always ask, what is it that we can take out from the script or from this movie, but the story still remains the same? And that's a little bit what we did on the back end.
Yeah. And Philippe was helping us stay on track. He was helping us very much, keeping things efficient. And that's one of the things I loved about his role in the work that we were doing. Because he's right. Every second counts. Like the light is fading. You know?
Yeah. We got the last shot, like literally as sun was setting, and
right. Yeah.
Every second counted.
Right. Lorraine, do you want to add on to that? Can you remember stuff that you filmed that didn't make it into final cut?
Things that we filmed. The first thing that came to mind for me was the scene with the homeless man. But I mean, obviously we didn't film that. I'm trying to remember. Some of the scenes helping around the house, did not all of those get cut?
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I remember we filmed, quite a few scenes of Uma helping Vale get his house in order, cleaning, various shots of her just after she's come into his home, to help him out, cleaning up things around the house. That I remember doing several different takes of everything from taking the dishes off the table to doing what exactly ended up in the film and what did from those takes.
Yeah.
I think to give a compliment to Gustavo in terms of his the editing there, it just obviously we have to compress the action, and the ultimate part of the help was you helping with the end with the moist towel. And showing your care and your love towards this human being.
Exactly.
It would have been great to show that, but then again, to reveal again a little bit about movie magic, or if we're going to create a short, it needs to be at 15 minutes or below 15 minutes if we want to submit it to other festivals. So by adding that scene and other scenes, then the movie starts to be 16, 17, 18 minutes.
Right.
So if we ever revisit this for further edit, then we might even cut a few more minutes here and there, or at least 30 seconds. I don't know where, but. But that could be a possibility that we cut just so that we fit below that 15 minutes. But again, it shows what is it that we can take out in any project? What is it that we can take out? Even when we're writing dialogue, and we can do that as well. What is it that we can take out that's just extra, that doesn't really add to what the story is about? Can we take, if it doesn't add too much, then we can take it. But if we take it away and then the story starts to crumble, then we need to put it back.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. So let's see here. So thanks, Hitendra. He's saying, Namaskar, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for letting us use your house. And Karen says, meditation without an understanding of yamas or niyamas, or the sutra, seems to be deceit of meaning and purpose, deficit of meaning and purpose. Exactly, Karen. Thank you. That's one of the reasons why in Vistara Circle here we emphasize the moral principles of yoga, the yamas and niyamas, because without that, people can be practicing meditation and building their ego so much, and then they can do really destructive things. Like for example, there's even a show. It was kind of what inspired this film too. The show called Billionaire. Anybody seen that show? The pilot of this show Billionaire, or Billions, it's called Billions. The pilot of the show Billions shows that the villain doing meditation on day one. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Like, first, you hardly see meditation in any series these days, but to see it in this series, and the villain is doing meditation. And then not only does the villain do meditation, also the the inspector, the police officer who's trying to get that villain, he also does meditation. So I don't know what they were thinking, but it was, I mean, I like what they were going, where they were going with that. But it shows that,
Mm.
of course, you could be doing, your practice can lead to destructive things if you don't have a moral base. I mean, these days the yoga world is very much like that. It's very ego driven, I'm so beautiful, I'm so enlightened, I'm so this and that, and it's just like a status symbol. But that, if there's no moral base there, then they may not be using all that they're gaining from yoga and meditation to really make the world a better place, or to really improve themselves, other than just in a superficial improvement. Over here, Hitendra says, I enjoy the samskara karma aspect. Pay attention to how you treat everyone. Exactly. That's beautiful. Any comments on that? I think Uma treats Vale very nicely in the film. She doesn't just reject him. She kind of opens her heart and sees, maybe I can't be with you in this way, but I might be able to be with you in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Comment on that, because in one of the scenes we were kind of struggling, because I kind of became a jerk to her, and having, basically asking her to come home with me, even though I just noticed she's married, and that would happen. But the way she reacted to it was very mature and very respectful, and saying, "Hey, look, I'm gonna leave you alone now and go my way, and when the time is right, we'll see each other again." So I thought that was a very well handled situation, because if a guy asks a girl who's married to come home, that's kind of a very disrespectful thing to say. So she handled that in a very healthy way, I think, and her character.
Yeah. So thank you, brother. And then here Jesse says, yeah, but states aren't the issue. The states come and go. So Jesse, maybe you need to just kind of rephrase that a little so we know what context you're talking about, unless anybody remembers when that Jesse's comment. And Jesse, he's talking about attention. Okay. Christina says, before I watched the film, I thought the subtitle was just a fun, clickbaity, tongue-in-cheek expression, but turned
It
out to
was.
make exactly. It was. I mean, we want people to see Lorray and Raymond. We want them. They're amazing. These two are incredible. I mean, when you watch Lorray on this picture, you can't keep your eyes off her. You want to watch it again and again because she's excellent. And Raymond, I think what you did with Vale is you brought your own sort of, well, you brought a very gentle, introspective aspect to it, and I think that it added a very subtle dimension to the character, so I felt that was one of the things that you brought there. And we're almost through here. We have just a couple of questions, a couple of last questions here. Let's see here. Jesse. Okay. And then here, Krupa says, in my home, idol worship is followed. Can I follow meditation with rituals followed in my home? Well, in our tantric practice, we would say that we need a form. Meditation, the goal of our meditation is to connect with the supreme consciousness, right? So supreme consciousness, that's so abstract. What does that look like? How can I imagine that? How can I connect with that? Today in the guided meditation, I said something like, expand yourself toward the supreme. I mean, that's really abstract. So that's why it's important, and I tried to mention that also in the meditation, to have actually a form. If you look at, for example, in Christianity, Jesus Christ, it was important in Christianity for there to be a Jesus Christ, because then it kind of humanizes God, gives God a specific form that people can ideate on and connect to God through another human being, right? If you think of the same thing in obviously in all the traditions, you know. So there is some sort of physical form that helps to guide the people to get to God. So that shouldn't be considered idol worship. Idol worship is now when you have a bunch of statues and you think that those statues have some specific power and you worship them. That is something that uh, we wouldn't foment in tantra. But certainly in tantra, we have to understand that all human beings need some kind of form. So in order to connect better with something that is abstract, because we have no idea what God looks like, no idea what God really is, you know. Um, and so we're going to need tools to understand better. So I hope that answer helps, Krupa. I would recommend to it's okay to have a form, but definitely in your practice not be dependent on any idols, not be dependent. Uh, some people even use, let's say, crystals to meditate, and that's okay if it helps. It's very good. Like I even use sometimes for my meditation, even a guide. I've audio recorded my own meditation, and sometimes when I can't, I feel like I won't be able to concentrate too hard. I put in my headphones so I can just guide myself, and it helps. But all of those are just tools that really we should not be dependent on. So those idols, they're okay if they're in the house, but don't ever be dependent on them. That you should be able to still do your spiritual practices without them, and same thing without the crystals, without the headphones. Um,
Hmm.
so thanks for that question, Krupa. And any we can go ahead and start to close. Any last comments?
Oh, I wanted to say thank you so much again for both Raymond and Lorraine for coming in and bringing your knowledge, your expertise, your passion. What's amazing as well about this magic of making movies, which is the first time that I experienced it myself, is how hard we all work. We have to remind ourselves to stop. We have to remind ourselves to drink water. And it's amazing how we just put all of ourselves in that moment to make this product be as better or be as good as it can be in this particular moment. And in that sense, we're like a little in the flow of the universe. We're in that moment where we're all in that moment trying to make this as better as it could be. So again, thank you both for being part of this project.
And thank you. There's everyone on did an absolutely incredible job. We have so much talent here, and yeah, just goodness. All of you are just good people willing to put in the time to make something that's inspirational, could possibly bless someone else's life. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you. I just want to add, Philippe, thank you for bringing your professionalism, your creativity. I mean, we all wore a lot of hats. He's not only the writer, director, like I said, he was behind the camera.
We also were the bad cop, good cop. Gustav was the good cop. I was the bad cop.
No.
But
we had to keep the schedule.
Bad cop, because I don't like being the bad cop. If someone will volunteer to have that role, I'm like, phew, we're good.
No, I mean that. I mean that in the sense that when Gustavo mentioned in the beginning in terms of the timing, and we had to get to the schedule. I felt like we needed to hit the marks. We needed to get these shots down on time. So
yeah. And well, okay, we can go ahead and close. All the best, Raymond, in what you're filming today. Okay.
Yes,
thank you,
in Philly.
Yo, appreciate you guys having me here. And thank you everybody who came in to listen to our interview and our story. And you guys for letting me be part of this. And that was definitely a lot of fun working with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a live stream that's going to be left on the channel. So for anybody that wants to geek out and learn all about our film. And maybe in the next couple of weeks, we're also going to release a behind the scenes. And these interviews are going to be interlaced in that. So now we have the commentary from each other, but we're going to give a real behind the scenes little video too for people who love the film, if they want to get into it a little bit more. And Mom says, congratulations again, all of you. I look forward to see you in a new film very soon. Yes. Stay tuned for more new short films on Tantra Thoughts.
Yes.
Okay, more new stories. All right. Thanks, Karen, and thanks everybody. Let's see. Oh, let's get Philippe's wife in here. One last comment. Congratulations for the beautiful work and sharing your talents with the world. Thank you, sister. Thanks for sharing your husband with us and for you sharing yourself in the film. All right, everybody. Well, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thank you all for joining us today, our RIPE team, and for everybody else, I love you, and we will see you next week. Oh, actually, wait. Sorry, I have to make this last announcement. I'll be going on a break actually for the month of June. So next week we won't have a session. There will be no online meditations, but there will be still content being released on Tantra Thoughts, and we will have somebody that will be filling in. Our brother Apurva, he will be leading online meditations at this time for us, starting not this coming weekend, but the second week of June. Okay, and then I will be back with the online meditations with you all in July. So, namaskar, folks. We'll see you all soon.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Joy. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.